Hey, it's CVV, Chris Van Vliet, and you have to check out the fastest rising podcast in all of professional wrestling. I'm talking about the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast. If you're looking for pay-per-view predictions, if you're looking for pay-per-view reviews, if you're looking for interviews, check out the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast.
Crash and Burn!
Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another fantasy booking edition of the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast, the fastest wrestling podcast and professional wrestling, where we are going to be fantasy booking once again. Let's bring everybody in here. First up, he started this idea, Mr. Wyatt.
Yes, welcome to the fourth time we are going to be doing this fantasy booking. I feel like we've always done a successful time doing it. And once again, we've got you, Jason, the Rainmaker, Lucas, and of course, Nicholas Isaacs here.
What am I never here?
Yeah, like when is Nick never here for a fantasy booking? Yeah, definitely. If anyone wants to know what promotion I'm doing, I'm not doing Raw this time, sadly. I'm gonna do something a little different. So I decided to do SmackDown. So I'm gonna give SmackDown a little bit of a try. So, Jason, you want to pass it to the next guest? I mean, the next member of the podcast.
That has to be Nicholas.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we return to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I will be booking that whole thing once again, and we're going to see where all that goes down. I'm looking forward to see what my other colleagues have planned out for their respective promotions, and this is going to be a hell of a time, I'm sure. I'm excited to be back doing fantasy booking.
Yes, that's right. Last but not least, he is from the Moshcast and Crash and Burn, Lucas.
I'm wearing yellow. You already know what that means. And we're wearing black. So I'm rocking, NXT. I'm doing NXT right now. I'm didn't do it last time because I didn't know our first guy was not going to do it. Julian, he's not here right now. So I'm going to take his place again. And yeah. So I'm going to fantasy book NXT. I still got some people the same as last time and everything like that. So yeah. Let's get into it.
Yeah, now signings time. But before that, what promotion are we doing? I'm doing AEW, All Elite Wrestling. Lucas, who do you have?
NXT.
Black and Gold brand. Nick, who do you have?
I am returning to the land of the rising sun. I am in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yay.
Wyatt, what is your promotion?
Once again, Friday Night SmackDown.
Are you ready for a good time?
Yes.
And we're
for
about
this,
to get
for this, we are going to make every Friday night a good time because SmackDown will be rated TV 14.
I'm gonna rate
Well,
all right.
in order to make that, let's start with the signings. My signings for AEW. I have the co-founder of the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast, the Moshcast host, the assassin, Josh Danker. I have him. I signed Kalisto. From my favorite video game, Minecraft, I signed Steve and Alex. One of the animatronics from my favorite horror game, Five Nights at Freddy's, Chica. I signed Greg Holly, the Spirit Squad, Eric Rowan, Adam Rose, and Noe Jose, Carlito, Tyson Kidd, Aleister Black, and Zelina Vega. Wyatt, who did you sign to make Friday nights a good time?
I signed, hold on, as I check here, we've got Goldberg. We have coming from the dead, the Samoan Bulldozer Umaga, the Big Show coming from AEW, Matt Hardy, the Monster Abyss, Ronda Rousey, Crime Time, and
Hit this smell what the Rock is cooking.
I smell our ad revenue going away.
yeah. So that is all my signings for SmackDown, and we're gonna make SmackDown were a fun ride. So whoever wants to know their signings, go ahead.
I'll go.
Yeah, Lucas, who did you sign?
All right, so I went a little bit of the ECW route and a little bit of the old school route, and some people that you may heard of for in a while. All right, so first off, I got Sasha Banks. Thank you, Wyatt and Bailey. I got Terry Funk, Raven, Mankind, and Cat Jack. We actually both of them, but there'll be separate divisions. I'll say it in a moment. China, Gangrel, Double J, Jeff, Jarrett, and we're gonna use him like he was in TNA. We got Bory, Ray, Marty Skrull, Mr. Kennedy, Matt Taven, the one that does drugs and finds his bed, Antwan Clark. We got Chris Hero, Mike Bennett, and Maria. And I can't pronounce his name, but I'm gonna say Vinny. Vinny Margria. I know how to pronounce
Marcelia.
it. Marcelia. Thank you. Also, 2 night chat teams. And Nicholas Pitts, I had them. The Briscoes and Kingdom. We are King of Kingdom again. Vinny Margrell. We bring in we bring in Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, and also we're gonna put Chris Hero in there because I was gonna originally put the King's Wrestling, but Wyatt has Cesaro. So yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Luke.
Also, I signed Tony Storm thanks to Lucas.
Oh, Lucas,
Yeah.
you forgot.
Yeah.
You also have a Walter, by the way.
Yeah, Walter too. Walter, I forgot. Fuck. Yeah, the ring general, Walter.
Ring General Walter.
Walter. And it's Walter, but in British it's a Walter.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, Nicholas, who is your signings?
My signings, thank you for asking, are Mustafa Ali, just like last time, Kenta Kobashi, Drew Gulak. I didn't bring in Paul Ellering this time. I did get Nick Dinsmore, Israel Adesanya, what the ROH friggin' deal. I got Jonathan Gresham. I brought in Great Muta, Vladimir Kozlov, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Chad Gable, Jason Jordan. I got Lana. I got FTR. I got Ilya Dragunov, and I also got Bo Dallas, Mike Rotunda, and Bray Wyatt. Hell yeah.
All right, now we talk about our signings. Now let's talk about who we let go from our respective companies. From AEW, I released FTR, Michael Nakazawa, Alex Marvez, and Christopher Daniel. Why? Who did you release from SmackDown? The WWE.
Sadly, I released Aleister Black, Chad Gable, Kalisto, Tamina, Wesley Blake, Bo Dallas, and the Bark and Barf connection, Bailey and Sasha Banks.
All right.
Thankfully, I got them on. They're rating killers. So see ya.
All right.
Yeah.
Lucas, who did you release from the Black and Gold brand?
All right, so we made the shot. I had Andrew Love last time, but we are sacrificing her because she took too much money and she was lap dancing me too much.
Thank God I did not take her then.
Okay, and then we got Casey Cruzaro. I think something else. I'm not sure. We got Katie Carter as well, and we are releasing Chelsea Green, Matt Striker, and Ryback.
All right, those are your releases. Nicholas, who did you release?
I don't. Did I really release anybody? Well, I did not technically release Kazuchika Okada because, as you know, New Japan and AEW have a working relationship. So technically, I sent him over to AEW. So he's not released, but at the same time, he's not going to be featured here. In terms of releases, I guess you could. Well, from last time, I no longer have Cameron Grimes, Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro. I let go Antonio Inoki because he keeps trying to make everyone do shoot fights, and that's just bad for business. Ethan Page, Big Van Vader's gone as well. Arturo Ruas, Paul Ellering is no longer here. Lucas got released because I don't fucking know. And Mike Bailey is
I'll
also
sign
gone.
myself then. I'm gonna sign myself.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm gonna put myself.
Pretty much
I'm gonna put myself in commentary.
Pretty
Friggin'
much
Mark.
everyone I released, they were no longer needed. So go to another promotion where you improve better. You don't improve in my brand.
Oof.
Anyways, now the broadcast teams. My commentary team will stay the same as Jim Ross, Excalibur, Tony Schiavone. Same for my ring announcer, which is the one and only Justin Roberts. My backstage interviewer, y'all probably remember him from AEW commentary back in the early days of the promotion, the Golden Boy.
Mm.
Wyatt, who was your SmackDown broadcast team?
Here, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SmackDown. Here I'm Gorilla Monsoon alongside here with Corey Graves. Graves, what do you say here for this night? Yeah, shut up, Monsoon. We are here for SmackDown tonight, and we are damn for a good time. I know you're not Saxton, but guess what?
Are you ready for a good time?
Yeah.
Who's your ring announcer and backstage interviewer?
My announcer is gonna be Tony Chimel, and my backstage interviewer is the beautiful woman herself, Kayla Braxton. I simped to her too much.
I thought it was even more. You simp too much. Damn.
Yeah, I simped to Kayla Braxton a lot too.
Alright, Lucas, who is your Black and Gold brand broadcast team?
All right, so I put myself on commentary. I still got Sammy, Mike Tenay, and Jimmy Burrash. The OG TNA is still in there. Right now, so we saw Grant Hamilton's. Nobody's gonna take it from me because he's on basically a franchise. It's on based on franchise for NXT. So nobody's taking it from me. So if you even try, I will kill you.
Putting merger. Really?
Exactly. And right now, not right now. My interviewer is still Kathy Kelly, and yeah, that's pretty much still the same. It's not really pretty much gonna change, except for me being commentary, which I do want to do in my life. So hopefully down the road, you see.
Yeah. Same.
Alright, Nicholas, who is your New Japan broadcast team?
All right, my commentary team is the same as last time. Joe Cornette and Josh Burnett with the addition of Matt Stryker. Thank you, Lucas. Backstage people, backstage interviewers, I have Kevin Kelly, Katsuyori Shibata, and Andre the Giant. It's the same as last time. And my announcer, I have, hold on, where the freaking hell did he go? My boy. The boy was here a second ago. Makoto Abe is my ring announcer. I also have trainers as well. I have Spike Dudley, Hardcore Holly, Mil. Oh, I don't have Mil Mascars anymore. Friggin' Lucas, I think, has them. So, yeah, Kurt Angle is my new trainer.
That's better. It's better.
Thanks.
Yeah, anyways. Time for the champions and rivalries. So mine's, I'm gonna have Eric Rowan win the AEW World title from Kenny Omega at Double or Nothing. In a normal match, Minecraft Steven Alex wins the AEW World Tag Team titles from the Young Bucks at Revolution. Zelina Vega wins the AEW Women's World Championship from Hikaru Shida at Full Gear in a rematch after losing to her at Double or Nothing. Aleister Black wins the AEW TNT Championship from Darby Allin in an exploding barbed wire death match at All Out.
Jesus.
Yeah, Nicholas, who is your champions and rivalries?
All right. So, is this the part where we just explain everything, or?
No. We talk about who is the champions right now and who are they feuding with.
Oh, all right. There we go. All right. My unified tag team champions, because I don't even bother freaking doing heavyweight and junior heavyweight tag champs. Since it's a waste of time for me. My new unified tag team champions are FTR. Thank you again, Jason. My United States champion at the moment is Hiroshi Tanahashi. My current never open weight 6-man tag team champions are United Empire, which made up of Will Ospreay, Jeff Cobb, and Great O'Khan. My never open weight champion is still Zack Sabre Jr., record-setting reign there. Still junior heavyweight champion Drew Gulak. My new IWGP Intercontinental Champion after beating the now Cesaro at some other pay-per-view, and then he friggin' went back to SmackDown. Minoru Suzuki is the new champion. Still the king of pro wrestling, Israel Adesanya. The new IWGP Heavyweight Champion after defeating friggin' what the hell's his name? Kota Ibushi at the final day of the G1 Climax. Samoa Joe. And yeah, those will be my champions right there.
Okay. Lucas, who is your champions and rivalries?
All right, so I got two things. Two of them I'll be in depth, but I won't get into that right about now. So, my current champion for NXT is still CM Punk, but he will lose it, but somebody else. I still have to figure out who. My North American champion is the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne. For my women's champion, I got the Demon Assassin, Rosemary. And for my not North American, tag team champions, I still gotta fucking find it. Where the hell would I put it? My tag team front champions, LAX. The OG LAX. Don't get that twisted. The OG LAX and TNA. The way better LAX than the off-brand LAX. I'm sorry, Santana Ortiz, but you're not gonna be good as the OGs.
Is that it?
Wait. Let me do my rivalries. I'm still not my rivalries. Shit.
Oh shit. Okay.
So my rivalries consist of, and I said a couple of them will be in depth too. CM Punk and Ciampa. They will have a match at Takeover. Let's say Takeover San Francisco, and they'll be in a Hell in a Cell match. We got. I'm gonna call him. I'm calling Vincent. Actually, Vincent. He's a new name. I mean, if you know Ray Barner, I'm calling Vincent. Vincent will take on Mankind. I still need to find. I think I'm gonna know what I'm gonna do for Pete Dunne. I think I might know what I'm gonna do for Pete Dunne. Let me find my freaking division. I might do Pete Dunne. I was originally somebody got Kenta from me. Thank you for who the fuck did that. So I'm gonna have Pete Dunne versus shit. Pete Dunne will take on Owen Hart.
Wow.
Not bad.
Okay.
Not bad.
Not bad.
All right.
That would be a good match.
Yeah, Pete Dunne will take on Owen Hart. Technical classic matchups. So I'm gonna do that. So Johnny Football Wrestling will take on Mike Bennett. Oh, well, actually, no, not Mike Bennett. He will take on not Terry. I already have him. Santos Escobar. We have Johnny versus Santos Escobar. Bully versus Raven. No, actually, yeah. Yeah, Bully versus Raven. After that, he will take on Terry Funk, which I'll explain. Jeff Jarrett versus Mr. Kennedy. Antwan. Someone has Antwan, doesn't they? Someone has Antwan. I think I'm Antwan. Okay, Antwan. I'm sorry, Antwan. I'm going to do this to you. You go and get Sammy Callahan. I'm going to kill you.
Oh Lord.
And Gangrel taking on Priest. Now, tag team. The tag team rivalries. Kingdom LAX, NWO and Enzo Cass, OVE versus The Way, Wolves and American Alpha, and Briscoes and Ren the Dragon. The women's Dakota Rosemary. No, not Dakota Rosemary. We scratched that out. Rosemary and Io because Io's gonna lose that title to Rosemary. Shauna and Rhea Ripley, Wildcard Moon, and look for the dream match that Ryleigh always wanted. You welcome Ryleigh. Sasha versus Ryleigh.
Hmm.
And
All right. All
I'll
right.
explain that one.
Okay. So is that all you got then?
Yeah.
Wyatt, who is your champions and rivalries?
Okay, my champions for SmackDown, we have Roman Reigns keeping the Universal Championship. You've got Matt Hardy as the you've got Ronda Rousey as the SmackDown Women's Champion, and you've got the Usos as the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. For the rivalries, we've got Umaga squashing the living shit out of Dolph Ziggler. You've got Matt Hardy feuding with King Corbin who King Corbin is currently holding the championship with Carmella and Reginald in the middle of this rivalry. You've got Goldberg versus Big E, which Goldberg's gonna squash the living shit out of him. You've got Kane and Sami Zayn in a Inferno melee. You've got Rey Mysterio versus Robert Roode, Seth Rollins versus the Monster Abyss in a death match.
Jesus Christ!
Ronda Rousey versus Toni Storm in an epic showdown. Otis and the Big Show versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. And Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman versus Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all your champions and rivalries.
Yeah. Do you want to do the roster reveal?
We can do that at the end after storylines.
Okay, we're doing the storylines. Okay.
Now for the storylines part, Wyatt and Nicholas, I know you two have a lot, so I'll
go last. I'll go last.
Oh, okay.
I want to go last.
I originally saved Nicholas for last.
No, I want to go last. I want to go last.
Jesus, all right.
Okay.
Okay, the pros go last then, which is Wyatt and Nicholas.
All right, who's
So
going
me
first?
and Lucas will go first. Okay, Now I'll go first. Storylines. Aleister Black loses the AEW TNT Championship to Tyson Kidd in a street fight at Revolution. Zelina Vega loses the AEW Women's World Championship in a singles match to Abaddon at Full Gear. Eric Rowan loses the AEW World Championship to Josh Dankert in a I Quit match at All Out.
Damn.
Minecraft Stephen Alex loses the AEW World Tag Team Championships to Adam Rose and No Way Jose in a tag team steel cage match at Double or Nothing. And yeah, that wraps up AEW. So that's all my fantasy booking. The roster reveal is the signings. So yeah.
All right. I'll go.
Okay, I'm done with my fantasy booking part. Lucas, finish yours up.
All right. So my rivalries. I'm gonna get to the matches and everything. So, bring our previous always have just good match. Have a good match. Antwan and Sammy Callahan by String Rules match. Jared Mitchell will have, let's say, no holds barred. Raven and Terry Funk will have a death match. Bully Ray Raven will have a String Rules match. This after Raven will take on Bully Ray. Owen Hart will take on Pete Dunne in a regular match. We're gonna have not Vinny. Vincent versus Mankind. In a Hell in a Cell match. CM Punk and Ciampa will be in a not steel cage Iron Man match, a 30-minute Iron Man match for CM Punk and Ciampa, and I'll explain that. Kingdom, LAX regular match. So it's NWO. All the tag team will have a regular tag team match. For the women's, one of them will have two of them have Extreme Rules. That'll be Rosemary and Io for the championship, and Sasha and Ryleigh. So, for the booking. So, there's two I want you to explain for them. So, it might take a little bit. So, CM Punk and Ciampa. So CM Punk beats Balor. So he calls out an open challenge to anybody to take him an NXT TakeOver. NXT TakeOver San Francisco. So who we pick? We picked Tommaso Ciampa because why not? Because that'll be a good match, right? So Ciampa puts on a match against Gargano for whoever go against CM Punk. So Ciampa beats Gargano again. And so the match is set. They cut promos, they attack each other and everything like that. Going to the match, we're going to have a surprise manager. AJ Lee and CM Punk will be together. What will Ciampa do? So, Ciampa will take on CM Punk in this match, a Dirty Man Iron Man match. At the last of the match, AJ gets involved and CM Punk nails GTS. So Ciampa loses to CM Punk 4-3. Now, the other one I want to explain is Briscoes and Render Dragon. So, Render Dragon calls out whoever wants to face him. Guess who comes out? The Briscoes. And it was like, hey, it's been a while, motherfuckers. So we have that going on, and they gonna have a regular match and a great match. The winners of the match will be the Briscoes. Now for the women's. So Blackheart Moon, Amber Moon will turn heel on a Blackheart after the match. Yeah. Then Rosemary beats Io in an Extreme Rules match. Now the one I want to get to is Sasha and Ryleigh. Now, Ryleigh said in the past, said to us in the past that she wants Dream Match against Sasha. So Ryleigh says, she gets talking. Oh, nobody can beat me and everything. Nobody can beat me. I'm the best of this shit. Who comes out? Sasha Banks. Ryleigh was about to have a markout moment, have a fangirl moment, just show in the corner, had a fangirl moment or something like that. Sorry, Ryleigh. But, Sasha comes out and challenges her to her Extreme Rules match at NXT TakeOver Los Angeles. Nope, not surprised they have Los Angeles yet. I'm surprised. So, they go at it in LA. And I'm going to put a surprise. Ryleigh beat Sasha. Now, it's by a dirty roll-up because Bayley distracts her, rolls up 1, 2, 3. So Ryleigh will move on to take on Rosemary for the Women's Championship. Will she win? You never know. And that is pretty much it. One thing I gotta say for Owen Hart and Pete Dunne is Owen Hart will be Pete Dunne will beat Owen Hart. Or Pete Dunne is still my champion. So yeah.
All right, so that's it for your fantasy booking part.
Wait. So, do you want to say our rosters, or you want to do that for last?
Yeah, go ahead, say it.
Okay. I have main divisions here. So, for my NXT Championship division, got Finn Balor, Adam Cole, baby, on his own. We got Jay White. Thank you, Nicholas. Bully Ray, Martin Scurll, John Gargano, Christopher Daniels. Thank you, Jason. Martin Scurll, Karen Cross, CM Punk, still champion. Austin Aries, Rob Van Dam, Mir Metrez, Latana Cueto, Abyss, Sammy Callihan, Mankind, and Priest. I'm going to try to go fast as I can. North American Champion, Matt Taven, Jeff Jarrett, Kennedy, Chris Hero, Bennett, Vinnie Margrove, or Vincent Margrove now. Who else? Walter, Gangrel, Antwan, Cactus, Raven, Terry Funk, Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, Santos Escobar, Velveteen Dream, Andrade, Loki, not Loki.
Who the fuck is Loki? Some friggin' Netflix ripoff.
As fast as I can. Sabu, Roger Strong, Owen Hart, Aranda Jordan, and that's gonna be it for the North American Championship division. And for my tag team, The woman's still the same, basically, except for China. The Way, NWO, Nexus, Demolition, AOP, Rainer Dragon, Brizongo, Alpha, working in. There's someone that didn't explain yet. The Wolves, NNM, World Greatest Tag Team, and that's it for my tag team. For my women's, it's still the same as last time, basically, except we still have Ryleigh, we still have all of them in there. It's still basically the same, basically. So yeah.
Why go to Cobra Kai? We can go to Lokai.
Shut up.
Lower prices, baby.
Shut up.
Hmm.
All right, I'm done.
All right, me and Lucas are done with our fantasy bookings. Nicholas, take up all the time you need in this recording.
All right, let's
Feel
dive
free to go
into
for 12 hours.
Maybe Nick, I want to hear your storytelling because this might give me some ideas.
Okay, yeah.
Nicholas, feel free to take 12 hours.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
dive into the Abyss, gentlemen. I've had one in this that I've been thinking about for at least 2 months or something that I've wanted to get out there. All right, first this is Wrestle Kingdom 17 that we've been building up to. The opening match of the show is going to be Tetsuya Naito taking on Kenta Kobashi. As some of you who may have watched the previous episodes may know, Kenta Kobashi came back to New Japan to face Kazuchika Okada. He lost, and he also lost to Samoa Joe, who's the current IWGP champion. So he's basically just been back in New Japan, kind of trying to prove that he's still a major deal there. However, Tetsuya Naito, Los Ingonables, he feels that Kobashi is only there to take up space. He's trying to take relevance away from him and his group, and basically stick his nose where he doesn't think where he shouldn't belong, in his opinion. So these two have a clash at New Japan. It's about respect, about your elders, about all that, blah, blah. And to the shock of a lot of people, Kenta Kobashi gets the upset victory in this match and beats Tetsuya Naito, very sort of reflective of the recent Keiji Muto Go Shiozaki match in Noah. And yeah, Kenta Kobashi starting to get some success in New Japan and starting to turn some heads. The next match we've got is a fatal four-way for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships because, once again, I'm not doing heavyweight and junior heavyweight tag divisions. It is a fatal four-way for the titles as the defending champions, FTR, who defeated the Briscoes at Dominion before they went to NXT. They are taking on the new team of Team Angle, which is Chad Gable and Jason Jordan, with their manager, the recently forced into retirement, Kurt Angle. We also have United Empire, made up of 2/3 of the never openweight six-man tag team champions, Will Ospreay and Great Okan, and God, Tonga and Tongaloa. FTR, they came to New Japan to prove that they are the true Southern boys of tag team wrestling. As a direct challenge to the Briscoes, they beat the hell out of them and they won the titles. And now they're setting up an open challenge because they see New Japan because they feel they've conquered AEW. They came here, they believe they conquered the greatest tag team wrestling in the world, and they believe the next best thing is New Japan. So they've come to conquer this territory as well and prove they are the best tag team, and they have the best tag team wrestling in any tag division anywhere on planet Earth. Of course, a lot of established teams, some newer faces, including United Empire and Team Angle. They're not very thinking kindly to that. So they have this massive fatal four-way match. Kind of Bullet Club wanted to get back into relevance. Team Angle, of course, Kurt Angle wants to see these new guys, Chad Gable, Jason Jordan, get some success, put a foothold in the New Japan tag team division, and United Empire want to continue their dominance to spread their empire, win more tag titles. But in the end, old enemies come back to haunt FTR as Team Angle are able to get the victory for their boy, their coach, Kurt Angle. And massive feel-good victory for them. They've felt they've been underappreciated in recent weeks and months and years. So this is a really huge victory for them, especially for Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan, who thought he would never be able to wrestle again. Next up, we have the United States Championship on the line as Hiroshi Tanahashi gets involved in the ever-expanding feud between Evil and Sonata. Of course, for those of you who may remember, in the last fantasy booking, Evil and Sonata were forced into a team together in the Tag Team Gauntlet, almost winning the Tag Team titles until just coming up short in the finals of that 6-team Gauntlet against the former champions, the Briscoes. It was weird after that. They didn't really feud, but at the same time, they weren't really friends. The Tanahashi would end up defeating, if I can find, Mustafa Ali in a massive upset victory at the one of the shows. I think probably Dominion to win the belt, and they had a qualifier match at one of the G1 Climax shows to determine who's going to face Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom, who's going to get the briefcase to win the belt, to fight him for the title. Evil and Sonata, they go the distance. 30-minute time limit expires, and in an unprecedented decision, the executives at New Japan, they award both Evil and Sonata the briefcase. They can cut the briefcase in half. I don't freaking know what the hell they're going to do. Like matching friendship keychains or whatever. Every time they meet, they combine the briefcase or something. I don't know. Friendship. And so, yeah, Evil and Sonata have both been slated to go after Tanahashi. You know, there's some tension between the two, but at the same time, there's sort of a sense of understanding between them, even after all the heartbreak, after Evil betrayed Sonata and Los Ingobernables de Japón to go to Bullet Club. So they have this massive triple threat match. Tanahashi, of course, he is the victim of a lot of double team from both Evil and Sonata. But however, there's still a lot of tension between the two. Similar to the Tag Team Gauntlet, they sometimes accidentally hit each other. And once again, like last time, Bullet Club and Los Ingobernables de Japón get involved. Bullet Club come to the aid of Evil, while at the same time, Los Ingobernables de Japón come to the aid of Sonata. However, in a shocking move, as revenge for what happened last year at Wrestle Kingdom 16, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa betray Evil. They go after him for costing them the tag titles, put him through a Japanese table, which is never a good thing. That will put you in a hospital for years. And Sonata is not too keen on that. He goes after Bullet Club and Los Ingobernables de Japón. They're like, what the hell are you doing? This is your chance. He betrayed you. Why are you trying to help him? Why are you trying to fend them off? And Sonata lashes out at his friends in LIJ, and they abandon him. They leave ringside, and not paying attention, Sonata gets hit by the high fly flow from Tanahashi off the top rope, and another one when he's grounded. 1, 2, 3. Hiroshi Tanahashi retains the U.S. title, and once again, due to the actions of Bullet Club and LIJ, once again, both Sonata and Evil leave Wrestle Kingdom without a title. What happens after that is all up to question. Next up, we have United Empire taking on the new Soviet Union, creative name I know, in a mixed tag team match. So this is Jeff Cobb and Beat Priestley of United Empire are going to take on Vladimir Kozlov and Lana of the new Soviet Union. So previously, Oksana was sort of the valet of sorts, the ambassador for the new Soviet Union. However, she freaking got lost in the airport and went to, like, I don't know, Chad or something, and we have not found her since. So now Lana is here to replace her. United Empire, they're not too keen on having more competition in the 6-man tag team ranks. They see this new growing Russian faction in New Japan as a threat to their dominance in the tag team ranks, especially in the never-opening six-man tag division. So they go after them. Also, Will Ospreay, at his command, he wants to be the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and he feels that Ilya Dragunov and Vladimir Kozlov are threats to that destiny of his. So he sends his troops, you could call them, after them. However, they're not anticipating the power of Vladimir Kozlov. He's gotten jacked since his WWE days, so he's very powerful. But Jeff Cobb is equally powerful, and that's why Will Ospreay sent him after them. They have a crazy match. Will Ospreay gets involved, as always. He seeks to go after Vladimir Kozlov, who looks to go after him with the belt, the never-opening six-man tag team belt. However, he is thwarted by a former foe of his, Mustafa Ali, the leader of Vindicta. There are still leftover grievances between Vindicta and United Empire, and that comes back to haunt them. Vindicta, they don't like the Soviet Union either, but they do have a lot more to argue with the United Empire over them. And ultimately, Lana, after all this, gets the pin on Bea Priestley, and the new Soviet Union win. Next up, for the Never Openweight Championship, the dominant 2-year-long, or not even more than 2-year-long championship reign of Zack Sabre Jr. is on the line as he goes and faces Ilya Dragunov of the new Soviet Union. Zack Sabre Jr., of course, he's been one of the most dominant wrestlers in all of New Japan. He's been arguing to have a world championship shot, but New Japan executives, they're still unsure of it. They still feel he's not at that level yet. They don't feel he is big enough to be the heavyweight champion. So he says, you know what? You keep bringing these new guys in. I'm going to keep going after them. I want Ilya Dragunov. I'm going to fight him. They say he's the best European wrestler out there. I like to disagree with that. Dragunov, of course, he wants to bring the first title to the new Soviet Union, so he's very eager to get the title from Zack Sabre Jr., and he's willing to do anything to get the title from him. They have an explosive match, absolutely back and forth. Sabre Jr. using his grappling ability to try and ground Ilya Dragunov's agility. However, Dragunov's very quick as well, using a lot of his high-flying ability, using the 6-1 line, all of his creative movesets that Sabre Jr. is not used to kind of get around his technical mastery. However, all that adrenaline, all that the need for Ilya Dragunov to win that title, it gets to his head, and it makes him he makes some mistakes, unfortunately for him. Dragunov, he looks to hit the what the hell's his name? Oh, Torpedo Moscow. He looks to go for it. However, he underestimates Zack Sabre Jr., and Sabre Jr. catches him in midair, locked him into an octopus hold. However, Ilya Dragunov, he refuses to tap out. It's very clear, however, he's in a lot of pain and he could possibly be injured, possibly even be retired if he doesn't tap out. And Lana and Vladimir Kozlov are at ringside, and Lana, she can't take it anymore. She throws in the towel for Ilya Dragunov. Sabre Jr. proving to continually be a dominant force. Ilya Dragunov did not tap out, show that he does have the heart of a champion, but is just not there yet. Then, Junior Heavyweight Championship match, Drew Gulak continuing to defend the title, still a very dominant champion, equally to Zack Sabre Jr., you might say. He goes against Taiji Ishimori, who's been kind of the leader in the junior heavyweight division for Bullet Club. Again, sort of a similar story of Ilya Dragunov and GOD. Ishimori wants to bring Bullet Club back to success. They have been doing as well, United Empire and Vindicta and New Soviet Union. They've been providing some competition in terms of merch sales as well. They're not making money. They aren't getting over with the fans. And Bullet Club, they don't have the same notoriety that they used to. And Ishimori wants to return to that. And so he does every dirty trick in the book he can think of to defeat Drew Gulak. Similar story to Ilya Dragunov, Zack Sabre Jr. Drew Gulak, tactical wizard, trying to keep Ishimori down. Ishimori, however, very, very fast, very aerial based. However, it is very, very much different as this time it's Drew Gulak who makes the mistake. You know, he assumes that he has Ishimori right where he wants him. He thinks of him, but he thinks of him as a regular opponent, a man who respects the rules, a man who follows a code of honor of sorts. But he does clearly not know Bullet Club. And when the referee's back is turned, Ishimori hits him with a low blow and rolls him up, uses the ropes. 1, 2, 3. Taiji Ishimori ends Drew Gulak's reign and wins the Junior Heavyweight Championship. Drew Gulak is absolutely livid. He goes after Taiji Ishimori. However, the rest of the Bullet Club come out. They beat the hell out of him. And they're starting to celebrate Taiji Ishimori's victory when the rest, not all of, because he's out injured, but Soviet Union, new Soviet Union, they come out again. Like, once again, they want to spread their empire. They want to get as much exposure as possible. And they see now that Bullet Club may actually be more of a threat than they once thought. And they have a little bit of a stare down, saying, you know, we might want those belts of yours. Next up, we have a unification bout as Israel Adesanya, the king of pro wrestling, is taking on the new IWGP Intercontinental Champion, Minoru Suzuki. Of course, as said last time, Claudio Castagnoli, now Cesaro, lost the title to Minoru Suzuki literally the night after at New Year's Dash. So Minoru Suzuki, the new Intercontinental Champion, looking to go after all comers, and he's noticed Israel Adesanya coming in as the king of pro wrestling, and he's very impressed with him. However, he wants to teach the kid a lesson. Minoru Suzuki is very familiar with MMA. He came there. He beat men like Ken Shamrock. He's very, very well known in the MMA community, and he feels that he is the one to end the so-called charade by Israel Adesanya to enter pro wrestling from the MMA world. Israel Adesanya says, yeah, no. So they have this massive bout at Wrestle Kingdom. Israel Adesanya, he does enjoy the title of King of Pro Wrestling, but he wants to, in his own words, become a true champion. And he feels that starts with winning the Intercontinental Championship, one of the most prestigious belts in the company, to have an absolutely back and forth match. Very MMA style bout, and it's really a test to see who's truly the better grappler. And in the end, Minoru Suzuki gave a very good fight. However, like the Claudio Castagnoli match, it's just he doesn't have what he used to have. Israel Adesanya is able to outmaneuver him. He hits him with some devastating strikes, and in the end, Israel Adesanya beats Minoru Suzuki to become the combined king of pro wrestling and the new IWGP Intercontinental Champion. Next up, this is technically the main event, but this is not the final match of sorts of Wrestle Kingdom 17. IWGP Heavyweight Championship match. Samoa Joe versus Kenta. So, Kota Ibushi, he has been a dominant champion. He was the face of New Japan all up until Samoa Joe came to New Japan, came to the Forbidden Kingdom. He beat Kenta Kobashi last year, and he basically stated his intentions to take the title from Kota Ibushi, saying all these other challengers, friggin' Kenta, Great Muta, all these other guys, you fought all of them. You fought guys like them your entire career. You've never fought anyone like me. Kota Ibushi was naive. Despite being the face of the company, he took the challenge he should not have taken, and he gets his ass absolutely kicked by Samoa Joe at Dominion, and he loses the title, and Samoa Joe puts him on the shelf for multiple months, so Kota Ibushi is not on Wrestle Kingdom. Kenta, one of the people who came out to challenge Kota Ibushi in recent months, now sees the opportunity to go after Samoa Joe. Kenta wins the G1 Climax for the first time. It's first time since 2017 that a member of Bullet Club, well, actually 2016, that a member of Bullet Club has won the G1 Climax. So Bullet Clubs are doing really well, and Kenta wants to continue the success that people like Ishimori and God have been getting, and he feels that will start by becoming only the third member of Bullet Club to win, well, actually the fourth member of Bullet Club to win the heavyweight title. Samoa Joe and Kenta do have history in Ring of Honor, so Kenta's like, you fought a guy that, he was new to you. He doesn't know you. I know you. I fought you for decades. I am the only one in this company that can beat you, and I am the only one that can restore honor to Bullet Club. And so these two have an absolutely brutal encounter, very strong style oriented, grappling oriented, back and forth. A lot of cheating on the part of Kenta. You got Bullet Club on the side, waiting to take to his word. He is now the leader since Jay White's no longer there. But in the end, Samoa Joe, he's just such a dominant force. He's got a fire lit under him, especially after beating Kenta Kobashi and Kota Ibushi. He ends up submitting Kenta in the middle of the ring after a muscle buster and the coquina clutch, and he will remain your IWGP Heavyweight Champion for another day. Now, the final match of sorts for Wrestle Kingdom 17. I don't know what to call this match. I guess a cinematic match of sorts, a backstage brawl of sorts. It is a fight between Bray Wyatt and the Great Muta. So to start off, we get the announcement just after Wrestle Kingdom 16 that Bray Wyatt has been released from WWE. No explanation for why. They don't say, he tested positive for drugs, he harassed somebody, he hosted a party when he shouldn't have. They don't give any reasoning. They just say he's been released. We wish him all the future endeavors, yada, yada, yada. Bray Wyatt shows up unannounced at New Year's Dash, which is strange to a lot of people because usually, there'd be a 90-day no compete clause. So what the hell is he doing in New Japan? Literally the same day that he's been released. How is he already here? And it's got a lot of people in WWE questioning things. So New Japan has weekly tapings now. They have stuff on Roku, Access TV, all that stuff. And every week, Bray Wyatt comes on talking about how he's going to be the next big thing in New Japan. He's going to make his family proud, the Rotunda family proud. I'm going to represent them well. I'm going to prove that WWE missed out on me. I'm going to prove that they missed out on all that I can do. I want to make you all aware there is an album. I believe it's on YouTube, but it's also available elsewhere, that inspired me to make this storyline. It is an album that is called Everywhere at the End of Time. This album, it's not your average album. It's not your average music thing. But the album is representative of basically forgetting everything. Like dementia. That is what this album is sort of representing, that progression to forgetting everything about your life. Every week, a different song plays. There's 48 songs in the album, and every week a different song from it plays. It goes in stages. And in the first few weeks, like the first 16 or so weeks or whatever, Bray Wyatt, he has some matches, he goes against some of the lower card guys, he's always winning. He's this whole new guy. He's not gone to some new gimmick or whatever. He's just Bray Wyatt. He's just, an average wrestler, your average Joe, like Cesaro or whatever. And, the first 16 weeks, everything is normal. However, a few weeks in, something noticeably changes. The song in the background, it starts to get a little weird, a little bit more disturbing. And you start to notice that Bray Wyatt, he's not normal per se. He's not acting like he's been usually acting. He's starting to act more childlike of sorts, almost talking to Kevin Kelly as if he's on like a children's show of sorts. And it's strange to people. People don't know what's going on. They're like, is he the same guy? Did they do a gimmick change? Is something going on with the creative? What's going on here? So that starts happening every few weeks, and slowly his attire starts to change. He's no longer wearing, because he was usually wearing like a t-shirt, you know, he'd wear like a band t-shirt, almost like an Eric Rowan type attire. However, now he's starting to wear sweaters. He's starting to tie his hair back a little bit. He's starting to, starting to clap at the camera. He's starting to do some stuff. So I was talking to the audience like they're kids. A few more weeks pass by. And all of a sudden, you start to see things in the background. He's no longer talking to Kevin Kelly now because he's requested to do his interviews from home. He lives in Japan now. His home, it doesn't look like the Firefly Funhouse, but it does have that feel of it. And you could tell that he's trying to recreate that magic. He starts to play the loop of like children laughing, the child laugh track that usually accompanies a show in the background. You're starting to see things like puppets that don't have hands or people to accompany them. Usually you'll see Bray Wyatt run over to them and use them almost like he's trying to recreate that magic. A few more weeks pass, and all of a sudden the setting changes. The set starts to be more run down. It seems like almost like he's turned on a fog machine, or he's let the fog of Japan roll into his room. And his sweater starts to degrade a little bit. It's looking more and more like a sort of rattle attire. His beard starts to get longer. His hair starts to become less controlled. And it starts to talk a bit more crazy. He does a radio interview with Kevin Kelly about just before New Beginning. And he talks to him about, the puppets and whatever. What happened to that? Everyone goes, what puppets? What do you mean? What? Who's Alexa Bliss? Who are you talking about? And it's starting to get weird for some people. Like, people are used to disturbing storylines, but this is not anything normal. Even on online interactions, it seems like he's starting to change. It doesn't seem like he's the same person. People are actually starting to get legitimately concerned here. A few more weeks pass. He does another interview with Kevin Kelly. He's lost his shirt altogether now. His hair is all crazy. His room is starting to completely fall apart. Kevin Kelly's concerned for him. He's asking him, should I call help? He's like, no, it's fine. Everything's fine, man. Everything's all good. And Kevin Kelly asked Bray, what's next for you? Are you going to come back? Who are you going to face? And he's like, you talking, who's Bray? Who's Bray Wyatt? And Kevin Kelly's kind of confused. I mean, he's really concerned at this point. I mean, he's kind of been progressing and kind of documenting this transition by Bray, who's no longer Bray. And Bray almost takes it as an insult. He's like, call me Husky. Who the hell is Bray, you fuck? And he turns off the camera. A few more weeks pass. Bray Wyatt, he paid for like almost like ads. Like, he paid for this promo space for like his programming. But now there's nothing airing. New Japan's like an hour and a half long show. Now there's just 5 minutes of radio silence. Because New Japan's not going to just air anything else there. Bray Wyatt paid for that. He should be airing stuff in there. Why is nothing showing up in that 5 minutes of basically radio silence? And finally, Bo Dallas, for the first time ever, shows up on New Japan programming. And he has an interview with Kevin Kelly. He's like, I just want to say that I'm not here for, wrestling or whatever. I'm here because my brother hasn't called me in 5 months. I haven't had contact with him. He's usually this fun, loving guy. He's a family man. He's everything to his wife, his kids. I've not gotten a call from him, and they have not gotten a call or even a text from him And I'm asking, what the fuck are you people doing that you haven't sent people over there? Because I feel like my brother's going insane and you're letting this happen. A few more weeks pass, nothing happens. You're still getting the radio silent ads during New Japan programming where the song from that album, it's continuing to get more and more distorted. And you can almost hear stuff in the background. It sounds like screaming, but nobody wants to assume anything at this point. Finally, after all this, New Japan executives have enough. They're like, yeah, we want that 5 minutes of airtime back. And also, what the hell is this guy doing? He has not shown up to work in about 6 months. He has violated his contract. He's violated his agreement for airing content on our network. So we're going to tell everyone we've called the authorities and we're sending people over to his house to figure out what the hell is going on. And they decide to send Kevin Kelly there. Like, you want your 5 minutes of airtime, Bray? All right, we'll send people to show you the world 5 minutes of what the hell you've been doing. And so they go to his apartment in Tokyo, and he's nowhere to be found. You can see just the shirt is still there, the sweater is still there. The wallpaper is starting to peel back a bit for the Firefly Funhouse knockoff. There are puppets that are just lying around in what they soon find out is swamp water that he's brought in there. They decide to tear apart the room to see if they can find anything, and they find written on the inside of the wallpaper is the words, "Who are you?" Like, not even just like on one piece, all on the back of the wallpaper. And it's disturbing. They send out a missing person report for him, for Bray Wyatt, and Mike Rotunda, his father, gets involved. And this becomes a massive story in the wrestling news. People are asking, like, is this a storyline? What's happening here? Why is Bray Wyatt not been here? And finally, there's an incident. They're having one of the days of the G1 climax when all of a sudden all the power goes out in the building. And it takes a few minutes. It's not like one of those like short blackouts where it's like, oh, it's wrestlers going to take a minute to get up there. No, this blackout lasts like 20 minutes. So a match has to be canceled because they cannot figure out what the hell has caused a power outage. No storms, no nothing, just power's gone. They turn the lights back on, and in the midst of all the chaos, they find a few members of their crew. Some young lions have disappeared. And they send out more missing person reports. And finally, things seem to be getting back to normal. Until that 5 minutes of airtime, the exact same 5 minutes of airtime that Bray Wyatt had paid for, but New Japan take it back, all of a sudden, it starts airing messages again. New Japan, they're trying to investigate, see if someone's hacked into their program or whatever. And the message only says, take back from me. Take back from me. That's it. And they don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. They don't know who it could be. They don't know anything at this point. Finally, a few weeks before Wrestle Kingdom, New Japan get a disturbing message in the form of a lamp that they find in front of their headquarters. You know, the Bray Wyatt lamp where they have his head on the lamp, except it's the face of one of the young boys, one of the young lions on the lamp. And it freaks a lot of people out. And it comes with a message. It's dressed by nobody, but they think it's from Bray Wyatt, where he says, I I thought not knowing who I was anymore was a curse for me. But now I found that inner that inner demon that Greenwich never let me show. That demon that I let out, the demon they made me let out, that was not me. Now the whole world gets to see me. All those quote-unquote gimmicks, those characters, none of those are truly me. And New Japan knows now that they have a massive problem in the form of Bray Wyatt. And they're trying to figure out who they can send to take him out because authorities have had no luck in trying to figure out what's going on. And they're like, we have to send an equalizer. We have to send someone with an equal sort of power to Bray Wyatt. And that's where they get the Great Muta. They're like, you know what? We'll send our own demon. We've had demons over here. We'll send our own inner demon over to you, Bray. And we'll see how you handle it. So they send the Great Muta over to wherever Bray Wyatt is. Bray Wyatt gives him a location, tells him, don't bring authorities, don't bring anyone, it's just going to be me and him, and we're going to settle this. Muta brings a camera with him just to film everything. We only got to see 2 minutes. Camera cuts out, and it is disappointing because you don't get to see any of it. We don't know the result, but the camera opens up. The camera shows footage for only a few moments. Those moments show the Muta spraying mist in this man's face. He's not Bray Wyatt anymore. He's not Husky Harris anymore. He's nobody. And this man responds by spraying the mist back in Great Muta's face. Every time the camera turns off and comes back on, Muta seems to be getting weaker and weaker, almost as if he's losing his power. Like, I'm going full Lucha Underground for this. And eventually, he's left as Keiji Muto. The mask is gone. The mask is now on the lamp that this man has left on the ground. And in a moment that New Japan executives were dreading, Keiji Muto gives up. And the final scene of Wrestle Kingdom 17 is the man formerly known as Bray Wyatt getting up and walking away with the lamp with Keiji Muto's face on it. And that was it. Okay.
That was 2 hours long.
The ending though was great. I love that ending.
But yeah, good story.
Yeah. I feel like I could flush that out more, but that was basically the basis of it. There you go.
Yeah, you can continue that next time we do a fantasy booking next month.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
that will be in March.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Partidos.
Go ahead and take your break, Nicholas, okay?
All right.
Get a water.
All right.
Yes, I'll mute you so you can take care of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, Wyatt, it's your turn.
Okay, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to start this. All right. Umaga and Dolph Ziggler doesn't have a storyline, so I'm going to pass that. All right. All right. Since Matt Hardy, since AEW randomly decided to release Matt Hardy, and they signed Aleister Black. So, on SmackDown, Matt Hardy breaks into the WWE Thunderdome with a steel bat and a steel chair coming to SmackDown, and Matt Hardy is calling for a fight. Matt Hardy doesn't seem to care who he wants to fight and all, but until Carmella seems pissed off because Carmella cannot stand AEW superstars making returns to WWE. So therefore, that leads to Matt Hardy calling out anyone who he wants to fight, and Matt Hardy says to himself, I am going to fight anyone back there for anything. Just bring someone's ass out. So what happens? No one shows up. So Matt Hardy walks backstage and looks like that Reginald jumps in the way, and Matt's like, who in the hell are you? He's like, well, I don't know if if Carmella accepts you being here. Well, she's not my boss. She can't tell me what the hell I'm supposed to do. So Matt Hardy punches him through his face, and two big bodyguards Carmella hired attack the living shit out of Matt Hardy, throwing him against the wall, throwing him through a table, and that led to something next week. So the following week, we see a 10-man battle royal, and that led to King Corbin eliminating Big E to crown the new Intercontinental Champion. So that seems to something. So King Corbin thought about challenging Matt Hardy for the Intercontinental Championship, but Carmella's two big bodyguards avoiding it from happening. But until then, since King Corbin wanted to challenge Matt Hardy, we found out Matt Hardy was unable to compete since Carmella's two big bodyguards and Reginald beat the shit out of Matt Hardy backstage. So that led to King Corbin having a little match against Shinsuke Nakamura. And of course, Corbin retained. So what happens now? At the Royal Rumble, we decide that we are going to have King Corbin and Matt Hardy for the Intercontinental Championship. Then Matt Hardy decides that Matt Hardy was unable to show up at the arena because Matt Hardy got held back. So we had Reginald fight King Corbin for the title, and Corbin won in 15 seconds. So that's that. So we decide to do one thing. We decide that we're gonna have Corbin and Hardy try to fight it again, but we find out that Carmella comes spreading around that Matt Hardy said he wanted to have sex with her so badly that WWE avoided to have the match happening. That Matt Hardy wanted to fuck Carmella in Carmella's house. Yeah, what the fuck? Matt Hardy went to the official saying, she's a goddamn lying bitch. What the fuck? So that led to Matt Hardy getting kicked out of the WWE Thunderdome. So Matt Hardy decides to get a chair, whacking a bunch of security guards with it, and Matt Hardy was going to avoid letting that happen. So Matt Hardy beats the living shit out of King Corbin after King Corbin had his match with Murphy that night. And Matt Hardy just beats the shit out of Corbin through the barricades, throwing him off the Thunderdome, whacking him through a table. I know Nick's eyes are so huge because Nick's not a Corbin mark. And then we see this. Matt Hardy calls out Carmella by calling her a fake bitch. So what do we see? At the Elimination Chamber, I decided for myself, since you're trying to get Matt Hardy's way, we are going to have a mixed tag team match. The team of Matt Hardy and Liv Morgan taking on the team of Carmella and King Corbin. So at Elimination Chamber, we decide that we saw a dirty move by Reginald distracting Liv Morgan, and then from a twist of fate to a obligation to a super kick to an end of days to a deep six. So what happens at the Elimination Chamber? Carmella hits a low blow to Matt Hardy and hits an Corbin ends the end of days, and that leads to King Corbin retaining the Intercontinental Championship. So we are on the road to WrestleMania. We have a backstage brawl as Matt Hardy and King Corbin brawl through each other, especially a random one-on-one match with Mojo Rawley and Cesaro. And that leads to WrestleMania. We decide that we're going to have Matt Hardy versus King Corbin finally at WrestleMania in a one-on-one match. And we will see something planned huge here, as Carmella will be the special guest referee. But Carmella will have, but if Matt Hardy beats Reginald in this match, Carmella will be banned permanently from the match. So Matt Hardy has a match with Reginald, and if Reginald gets to have no countouts and no DQs in the match. So Matt Hardy and Reginald get to have a good 5-on-5 battle, and Reginald is too quick for him. Too quick as he goes side by side, front, forward, under, over and around, as Reginald has the amazing flexibility in the match, as Reginald was able to hit the top rope, hit a steel chair to the head of Matt Hardy, hit a leverage pin, puts his feet on the ropes, and Carmella was able to become the special guest referee of the match. Here we are at WrestleMania in Tampa Bay in the Raymond James Stadium, and therefore Matt Hardy was able to become. What did he decide to do? He decided to be a different type of himself, and that is Woken Matt Hardy. So Woken Matt Hardy makes an amazing entrance through the Raymond James Stadium as fans were chanting, "Delete, delete, delete." And therefore Matt Hardy decides to delete King Corbin so King Corbin could go back to his lone wolf gimmick. So Carmella is the referee in the match. So what happens at the end of the fight? Carmella randomly decides to hit a low blow onto Corbin, and then Matt Hardy aims a twist of fate and becomes the new Intercontinental Champion. So Matt Hardy becomes the Intercontinental Champion, and then after the match, randomly Matt Hardy drops the Woken gimmick and shocks the WWE Universe by beating the shit out of Corbin after the match and doing a twist of fate, and decides to align with Carmella, and Carmella and Matt Hardy kiss each other in the ring and make out. And that ends to no good. Matt Hardy shocks the world by making an ominous heel turn, and that will lead to that. The next feud will be Goldberg versus Big E. Ever since Big E had a shitty Intercontinental title reign, Goldberg decides that Big E decided he wants to have a big competition for himself. So that leads to something. Big E says, "Well, I will feel the power to fight anybody in my way." So what happens? We hear this theme song.
Great theme song.
You hear that? So Goldberg comes into the ring saying, "Well, you seem like you're the new rising rookie, right? You're the rising star, right? Well, I'm here to fight rising stars and jackhammer and spear everyone's ass, because Big E, if you think you're going to be hot shit, then you're next." So them two get to have a match at Fast. Get to have a match on SmackDown, a main event the shit. And Goldberg hits a spear and a jackhammer. A spear through the barricade, a jackhammer through the announce table, a spear into the ring, another jackhammer, a spear, a 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 jackhammer, a spear. And Goldberg was wearing those Brock Lesnar shorts. And Goldberg hits a spear and gets Big E concussed and gets him injured for 2 months. Yeah, Goldberg fucked him up pretty bad. So that ends to that. So Sami Zayn, for weeks upon weeks, Sami Zayn decides to have people have bias and support for him as Sami Zayn tries to make himself feel bad by handcuffing himself to the barricade. And every time either a male or a female superstar or even a tag team decides to come down the ramp, they decide to beat the living shit out of Sami, and Sami gets fucked up every time a wrestler comes down to the ring. It comes every time, until the big red monster Kane decides to come out and whoop the living shit out of Sami Zayn, and Kane hits a choke slam into the ring, and Kane decides, hey, well, if you think you're just going to stand there and have people just beat the shit out of you every time, well, I think it's time to go to hell. So we decide here that Kane and Sami Zayn have decided to have a feud here, and them two will get to have a Inferno Burn in Hell match at WrestleMania. It's in the kickoff. So Kane and Sami Zayn have a fallout brawl. A fallout brawl as Sami Zayn tries to aim a haluva kick. Kane hits a sidewalk slam. Kane hits a choke slam from even the top rope, and Kane hits another choke slam, and the final choke slam is through fire under the ring, and the ring just explodes crazy. And then out of nowhere, Kane ends up disappearing. What happens? Paul Bearer comes out with the urn and steals Kane's soul, and Kane was disappeared for months and months. And then Kane was able to get up and hit another chokeslam to Sami Zayn, and Kane was able to come stronger than ever until it was May 19th. And then Kane 2.0 made a return and tried to help Sami, but guess what? That ended up failing. So guess what? Kane ended up beating the shit out of him and chokeslammed Sami Zayn, and Kane Attitude Era through there, and then there was pyro exploding and exploding and exploding. Rey Mysterio, so now this feud is Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio carry their legacy as the Mysterio family shows who they are, until Robert Roode turned on Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode decided to be on his own because Robert Roode felt like shit teaming up with that bitch named Dolph Ziggler. So Robert Roode decides to come out to the ring and finds new opportunities and new goals for himself. So therefore, that leads him to fighting Rey Mysterio. So Robert Roode comes into the ring saying, "So, I want beggar competition. So, are you any of y'all down?" So Dominic Mysterio decides to challenge Robert Roode to a fight, and that leads to them fighting. And Robert Roode says, "Well, jackasses, I decide, Dominic, since you're the little rising star around here, I decide I maybe plan to retire your dad." So that storyline ends up every now and there, and that went from Robert Roode and Rey Mysterio having their brawl and feud, and the feud lasted like 3 months or whatsoever. I don't really know how to end that feud, but all right. Ever since now, the monster Seth Rollins has made it return better than ever, fallen from the risen. Rollins comes out saying, I have been in this business for almost 9 years now. I know I've been the first ever NXT champion, and I am here to lead SmackDown because Monday Night Raw, I completed everything I've needed from there. So the Monster Abyss decides to come out, and Seth Rollins like, I don't think that's what I wanted just yet. So Abyss decides to have Rollins, and that leads to Rollins and Abyss having their issues, and then that will lead to their build-up having themselves both qualified to the Elimination Chamber, and they're both failed to be in it for the Universal Championship. So their build-up leads to that, and Rollins says, Abyss, you are just one unstoppable guy. But at WrestleMania, when I am going to challenge you to a death match, because at WrestleMania, I'm going to bring all the fire and the torches I need, because at Mania, I'm going to burn it down. So Abyss and Rollins attack each other backstage, and Abyss as Rollins decides to walk out as he wants to meet up with Becky and their daughter, Rokes. That Abyss decides to come from behind, strangling Rollins, choke slams him through the glass car. Abyss gets his bat with his pins on it. He decides to whack Rollins in the nuts. Rollins misses. Rollins super kicks Abyss onto the glass car. Rollins gets the bat with the nails on it, whacks Abyss with the nuts in it. Abyss feels that usual pain that he got in Impact Wrestling. Rollins hits a curb stomp into the car. Rollins is so scared, he just runs off and screams, "See you at Mania, you motherfucker!" So at WrestleMania at the Raymond James Stadium, Abyss and Rollins have their match in the ring as they fight in a 20-minute time limit death match. And for barbed wire around the ring, there will be barbed wire, thumbtacks, tables, chairs, metal, steel, anything you can. But until then, as there was blood everywhere, Rollins using a jump through the announce table, Abyss hitting a choke slam onto a barbed wire mat, and Rollins hitting a curb stomp to Abyss through thumbtacks, using that bat to whack Abyss in the nuts with it. Until then, Rollins was able to hit that final curb stomp. Once Rollins hit it, the ring explodes through fire, and Rollins was able to achieve victory ever since his extreme feud with Abyss. Now, ever since Toni Storm was able to get called up to the main roster, Toni Storm ended up having on a hot streak lately. So that led to letting her to build up ever since she was able to make precious defeats over Natalya, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Billie Kay, and Bianca Belair. So Ronda Rousey, after she defeated Sasha Banks and got Sasha Banks out of WWE, Ronda Rousey was carrying SmackDown as the SmackDown Women's Champion. So Ronda Rousey got to, of course, have a match with Billie Kay at the Elimination Chamber. It was able to put her in an armbar and tap her out and have a 20-second match with her. Had a match at Fastlane against Bianca Belair. That match was like a 10-minute fight as Bianca Belair and Ronda Rousey had an amazing strategy there. And then Toni Storm, we decided at SmackDown we were going to have a gauntlet match to declare who was going to fight Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. So it starts off with It starts out with Natalya and Liv Morgan. Ruby Riott and Natalya hits from a discus clothesline. Ruby Riott tries to aim the Riott kick, but Natalya hits it in her sharpshooter. Ruby Riott taps out. Who's next up? We see is Bianca Belair. And Bianca Belair hits on the streak as she eliminates Natalya in her torture rack move, whatever her finisher's called. Eliminates Natalya. Liv Morgan comes out. Same deal. Bianca Belair gets her eliminated. Then we have Toni Storm as the last. We have Carmella eliminating Belair. Toni Storm out of nowhere makes a steal and becomes the #1 contender to fight Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. So at WrestleMania, we see Ronda Rousey making her entrance to the way and Ronda Rousey says, "Well, you're the new fresh rookie. Well, guess what? I'm gonna break your arm and make you tap, bitch." So Ronda Rousey and Toni Storm make their way to the Raymond James Stadium as Toni Storm makes her way to the ring, better and hotter than ever with that nice ass. So Ronda Rousey even makes her entrance to WrestleMania as the SmackDown Women's Champion, and their match had a fallout brawl as Toni Storm ended with a suicide dive outside the ring. They brawled outside the ring as Ronda Rousey was thrown to the steel steps. Ronda Rousey hits it even when they get thrown back to the ring. Ronda Rousey hits a knee strike, hitting Toni Storm through her nose as her nose was bleeding downhill. Toni Storm aims a clothesline. Toni Storm aims her finisher as Ronda Rousey kicks out of it. Ronda Rousey tries to put her in the armbar. Thankfully, Toni Storm was able to get out of that armbar, and then they were able to hit a superplex off the top rope as bodies were laying everywhere. And then another move hits. Toni Storm hangs on by the ropes as she was able to pull the turnbuckle off and hit a make a cheat here and hits Ronda Rousey painful as Ronda Rousey has blood coming off her face. There was blood just laying everywhere until then. 20 minutes later, the match was able to have an ending to it as Ronda Rousey put her in an armbar and Toni Storm was able to tap. And Ronda Rousey was able to walk out as your SmackDown Women's Champion still. And yes, Matt Hardy won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. I forgot to add that as well. He defeated King Corbin for it. All right, Otis and the Big Show. Ever since Chad Gable was ever to have his release, Otis decided he needed a new coach. So therefore, that led to Big Show getting called up to SmackDown against the Usos. So Big Show tries to work with Otis, trying to either make out with women or being a stronger and a safer wrestler. So ever since Mandy was able to draft to the Raw, Otis just hasn't been himself. So Big Show tries to help him out as Chad Gable sucked at being his coach. So therefore, Otis got to have a match against Apollo Crews, and Otis was so pressuring for it, Big Show was unhappy. So Big Show's like training Otis at the Performance Center in Orlando, and Big Show tries to work with him hard. So what happens? After Otis had a hot streak winning lately, as he was able to defeat Cesaro, he was able to defeat Dolph Ziggler, he was able to defeat Apollo Crews again, he was able to defeat Mojo Rawley. So Big Show is really impressed with Otis's safety in ring with wrestling. So Big Show's like, maybe if I talk with them, maybe we'll get them shot at the Usos for the tag team titles. And Otis is like, oh yeah! So Big Show was able to work with Otis and see if Otis could eat 2 pounds of ham in 10 minutes. So Otis was able to do that. Otis was able to eat 3 bowls of peas in 7 minutes. Otis was able to do that. So was Otis able to drink 6 pounds? Was able to drink a bunch, 10 bottles of water in 5 minutes? Yes, he was able to. Big Show really worked him hard and hard and hard. Until then, Big Show and Otis got to have a triple threat tag team match against the Street Profits and Crime Time. Yes, JTG and Shad were even impressed as JTG and Shad were big fans of Otis as well. And even if they lost, they were even going to celebrate Otis with money, yeah. So we had the triple threat tag team match as Otis and Big Show were able to have an overcoming victory as Big Show was able to pin Montez Ford. So after the fight, Umaga and the Usos decides to destroy the shit out of Big Show and Otis as they were the number 1 contenders for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. So what happens now? That leads to their build up to Mania, and the Usos make their entrance way to the Raymond James Stadium, and so does Big Show and Otis. But sadly, Usos were able to have a super kick, and Usos were able to have a very upsetting victory as Jey Uso was able to pin Otis. But better luck next time. Now for the feud that we've all been waiting for. Ever since Rey Mysterio was able to win the Fatal 4-Way Elimination match, he was able to fight Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble for the Universal Championship. So what happens now? Roman and Rey make their way to the Thunderdome at the Royal Rumble. And Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio get to have an amazing 25-minute match for the Universal Championship. As Roman Reigns immediately hit a spear from a 619 to a spear, hits from diving from a West Coast pop to a Superman punch. Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio killed it out there at the Royal Rumble as Dominic and Aaliyah and Mysterio's wife were able to watch their proud dad, legendary of a dad, Rey Mysterio, take advantage here. So what happens after the fight? Roman Reigns retains, but as the Thunderdome sees it, Roman Reigns decides to take the glove off, beat the living shit out of Rey Mysterio. Just fans in the Thunderdome, just Roman Reigns is just punching him so hard, making him bleed to death. Fans are just crying in the Thunderdome. Dominic and Aaliyah just watching their dad just lay there suffering as Roman was able to throw those punches hardly to the ground. His emotions, and even in the commentary teams like, please let him go. He's already dead. He's gotta be dead by now. Jesus, let him go, Roman. Let him go. Let him go. And then Dominic able to jump off the top rope until Roman hit a spear to him. And Umaga and the Usos destroyed Dominic. Umaga and the Usos and Reigns dominated Dominic. And Aaliyah had nothing that she could do for it. And Rey Mysterio was just laying there piled on the ground there as Roman continued to suffer him to death. And Roman Reigns hit another spear, and then immediately Roman, Umaga, and the Usos decided to mimic Roman's old faction, the Shield, as they triple powerbombed Rey and Dominic through the announce table, and that laid them their suffering. As I come to Roman, seeing an epic disappointment, and say, what a dirty move you've done to Rey Mysterio at the Royal Rumble. That was a good match, but that was a dirty ending, Roman. So that's why you're going to defend your championship in the Elimination Chamber. So, at the Elimination Chamber, Roman Reigns is able to defend his Universal Championship against Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins, Abyss, Daniel Bryan, and Kevin Owens in a 6-man Elimination Chamber match. So that leads to that. So what happens as the chamber match keeps going and going? Roman Reigns tries to do this for his family, his bloodline, as even though Roman Reigns was able to be the first one in the chamber and just lasting there until Jey Uso walked across. Paul Heyman and Jey Uso were able to. Paul Heyman was trying to have the key, trying to get the Usos and Umaga, and referee were just trying their hardest to argue with Heyman until Jey Uso snuck across the chamber with a steel pole. So the pole comes into the chamber. Roman has it, whacks Owens with it, hits a spear, eliminates Owens in 1, 2, 3. Owens eliminated. So what happens next? We see that Daniel Bryan is just laying there as we see Owens the first one eliminated in the chamber. So what happens now? We see Daniel Bryan hits a running knee. Daniel Bryan hits a running dive, lands on Umaga and Jimmy Uso as trying to get them out. And Daniel Bryan has a brawling outside fight with them. Until then, we see Rey Mysterio getting chokeslam as Roman Reigns tries to attack Abyss, rubbing Abyss's face across the chamber. Abyss has blood going everywhere as usual. And therefore, that leads to Rey Mysterio trying to hit a 619 to Roman Reigns until the monster Abyss catches him in the chokeslam. Chokeslam, Rey Mysterio on top there, just suffering, choking to death on that chamber. And Abyss chokeslams Rey Mysterio off the chamber. Abyss pins Mysterio. 1, 2, 3, and then Mysterio was eliminated by Abyss. Rollins hits curb stomps. Reigns hits a spears. Reigns and Rollins were able to hit a Shield reunion as they were beating the living shit out of Abyss as a double power bomb was in sight until Rollins climbed on top of the chamber, hits a frog splash and a curb stomp, and Rollins and Reigns lay on top of each other to eliminate Abyss. So that leads to Umaga trying to get into the chamber. Umaga has the thumb. Tries to distract Rollins until Roman's bloodline, Umaga and the Usos were chased off, set by security. Daniel Bryan got back in the chamber, hits a running knee, hits the yes lock onto Seth Rollins. What does Rollins do? Taps out. So that leads to Roman and Bryan as the last two, and Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan for 5 to 7 minutes them two had a fallout melee until Daniel Bryan tried to aim the running knee. Roman reverses it to a spear. Roman Reigns walked out, retaining as the Universal Champion. When Roman Reigns' theme hit, you hear this. If you smell, The Rock makes his arrival to the Elimination Chamber, and The Rock and Reigns go face to face. Until then, The Rock hits a rock bottom to Roman Reigns. So here we go. We are leaning to Fastlane. Roman's bloodline. We hear that Roman Reigns gets to have a open as The Rock opens up SmackDown, cutting promo saying, "Roman Reigns, you might have saw I hit the SmackDown on your candy ass." And then The Rock cuts his promo saying, "Finally, The Rock has come back to the Thunderdome." So The Rock makes his arrival to the WWE Thunderdome. Until then, Dolph Ziggler was saying, "Rock, I don't even know why you're here, because Rock, you've had your time. You should be in damn Hollywood, quarantined in Hollywood, because you know what? I'm going to tell you, at the WrestleMania fight Roman, it should have been me." So The Rock says, "Well, stop your bitching and whining as you're..." Well, guess what? The Rock doesn't see the little spaghetti hair, little fucking crybaby like you, Dolph. So guess what? The Rock's gonna get his boot here, dust it off, stick it up sideways, and stick it straight up your candy ass. That's right. And The Rock is the pie, as you're messing with the pie eating, trailblazing, and eyebrow raising. And Dolph says, well, Rock, you know what? I know you're a big fan of mine, so I don't know why you're disrespecting me like that. You know what? I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to Roman Reigns. Spine buster. People's elbow. Boom. And that will lead, and then The Rock decides to challenges his own cousin at WrestleMania to make it for the legacy of the Anoa'i family. So at Fastlane, we decide here that Roman Reigns decides that he's going to have a special challenge for the Universal Championship later that night on SmackDown. So we see that Nicholas Isaacs, Mae Young, and Antwan Clark showed their way up to the arena at the Thunderdome. So Antwan Clark comes up saying, "Hey, I want to challenge Roman Reigns for that Universal title, but you need to get him off that camera. You need to get him off that camera. You need to get him." So Roman Reigns gets to have a match with Antwan Clark on SmackDown until Roman Reigns hit a spear to Antwan, and Roman says, "Well, you think I should be off that camera? Well, finally, you can get off my camera." And then finally, Roman Reigns was able to have a match. Poor Antwan Clark just laid there until Mae Young tried to kiss him, trying to wake him up, until they went to the hotel with animal undies. So at Fastlane, we decide at Fastlane we are going to have a 6-man tag team match with 3 of Roman's family members, and that is Roman Reigns will team up with the Usos as they take on Rikishi, Yokozuna, and Rosie. 3 of Roman Reigns' family members as the Anoa'i family will have a dominant 6-man tag team match. But until then, after that 6-man tag team match was over at Fastlane, Roman Reigns continues to beat his family to the ground until Roman's dad, Sika, makes his arrival, and Afa as well. What does Roman do? He spears his own dad. Roman speared his own dad. And Roman's like, "I'm carrying this bloodline, and you're going to bow down to me after I beat Rocket Mania, and you're going to see who the real leader of this family is." So The Rock comes out. The Rock checks on the rest of his family members as Roman Reigns speared Rikishi through the barricade. Superman punched Rosie and threw him on the steel steps and ended Rosie's wrestling career. As Umaga was able to have that steel steps and whack it on Rosie's head and break his neck and end his career. Roman Reigns did the same thing. Roman Reigns let his brother just lay there with blood everywhere. Roman Reigns even did the same thing by Superman punching Rikishi and spearing him through the barricade by paralyzing Rikishi. Even Yokozuna having trouble in the ring as the Usos were able to have the ropes tied to his arms, and Roman Reigns hit 3 Superman punches to Yokozuna, whacking chairs to break his ankles, and didn't know if Yokozuna was even able to walk again. And Umaga and the Usos and Roman destroyed the shit out of Yokozuna until The Rock was able to come out as they ran off. Paul Heyman, Umaga, the Usos, and Roman ran off from the Thunderdome, and The Rock was able to check on his family. So at WrestleMania at the Raymond James Stadium, we finally see it as the Usos, Paul Heyman, and Umaga were banned from ringside because The Rock was able to beat Umaga on SmackDown. So Roman Reigns decides to make his arrival to the stadium. So does The Rock. The match got to go every way until a rock bottom to a spear to a Superman punch. What a dominant match of emotions. People were just crying when they saw that match. Roman Reigns hits a Superman punch until we have this. We see that ourselves, the match shows The Rock hits a rock bottom. Rock bottom was missed. Superman punch, The Rock feels a little groggy. Roman Reigns, spear, Reigns, 1, 2, 3. Here is your winner, and still the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. What a way we've ended WrestleMania. The main event has gotten crazy. I don't even know if The Rock will ever have another match ever since he was able to defeat his own cousin, the big dog, the tribal chief, the leader of the Anoa'i family, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns' family here, Alpha, Sika, Rosie, Yokozuna, and Rikishi, they're praising Roman, and the Usos, they're just cheering on for Roman. Wow, what a weird ending we see for WrestleMania. The greatest family bloodline in pro wrestling history has just ended WrestleMania. As you see The Rock there, just laying there cold. And that's it for my storytelling. How did I do?
Yeah.
That was good.
I worked hard on that Roman and Rock feud, not gonna lie.
That was a lot of good, y'all.
Yeah, so I guess we can get to our outros.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow, that's the end of the fantasy booking, everybody. Next month we're gonna be doing our next fantasy booking recording. I believe it's gonna be filmed around March 27th. Yep. So, anyways, thanks for checking out our fantasy booking edition of the Crash and Burn Wrestling podcast. Hope y'all enjoyed, and yeah, follow us on Instagram, except for Nicholas because he doesn't have social media, and subscribe to this podcast.
Give him a free Skype call.
Yeah.
Yes.
Subscribe to this podcast and the Mojcast, and yeah, next week we are going to be reviewing Elimination Chamber, and on February 27th, since that was supposed to be the original date for this year's AEW Revolution pay-per-view, that got moved to Sunday, March 7th. We're going to be reviewing last year's Revolution pay-per-view on the originally scheduled date. So yeah, stay tuned for those, as well as more album reviews for the Moshcast. Anyway, that's my outro. Wyatt, let's get you out of the way.
Again, yeah, thank you for an amazing fantasy booking episode. It's always a fun pleasure doing it. I'm very grateful that we get to do this every month. Hopefully, definitely excited to do the next one. Hopefully, I have more people on for the next one. So, yeah, go follow everyone on the socials, Creep Cash and Burnin', and I'm sending prayers to Conan as he's going through some health issues right now. Prayers to Conan. And, just let you know, Conan, Crash and Burn is sending prayers for you and prayers for Conan's family. definitely, hopefully everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy Elimination Chamber tomorrow, and hopefully enjoy while you can until the network gets launched to Peacock. So, next up.
Next up happens to be Nicholas.
Thanks for sitting through all that, everybody. Yeah, hope you all enjoyed this. Hope you all enjoyed our booking decisions. And yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the Moshcast. Follow these wonderful people on whatever stuff they have. And yeah, just do good in life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that.
Good idea. Good idea.
Lucas ended off.
Yeah, be good, do.
Alright, hold on. Alright. So, then you guys have me on the Crash Wrestling Podcast. I'm finally back with the NXT booking. I'm going to do probably more in-depth booking, probably. I was just trying to get it quick and not try to be long with the booking, but I think I need more my booking. So you can see my reasons, the matches, how it goes, and everything like that. So I'll do that the next time for March or April, whatever it's going to be. So yeah, then you guys have me on Crash Burn, and
All right. See you next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Crash and burn!